Hi, I'm Micah, and this is episode 3 of continuing on with our pop slash K-pop song. Where we left off last time, um, we got a really good start on parts A and B of the first verse, as well as some percussion, which, thinking about, I think we're going to change, but we'll come back to that in a little bit. Um, but what I want to do for this installment is to start working on the progression for the chorus. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to play the second half of what we have for the verse, just kind of to remind you where we are. Okay, so that's what our verse sounds like. So let's go ahead and start building our chorus. So we'll make a new piano pattern, and we're going to put it here. So one decision you can make right now is, do we want to just abut this right up with the verse, or do we want to leave a measure? Sometimes it's nice to have a measure to do something either melodically or sound design wise before you start the chorus. And honestly, I don't know. We'll just stick it up here right now. And we'll go ahead and guess that this is going to be 16-ish. Of course, it doesn't matter. We can change it later. And let's go ahead and start laying in our progression. Okay, so what do we want to do here? So for the verse, we predominantly use 1, 4, and 5, which, as I mentioned before, is kind of the building block of pop music in a major key. So we still want to highlight those chords, and then we'll, kind of like we did before, we'll throw in 2, 3, and 6 as accents to make things different here or there. So I think we ended the verse. I'll show you here. We ended this. So this last progression here is C, G, F, and then back to C. So since we ended on C, we don't want to start on C. So we're going to kind of use C, which, remember, is the dominant, is the tonic. So we kind of want to end phrases on the C. It just gives a nice resolution to each phrase. So let's do that. Put a note down here. Need to go back here a second. We're on G4. Okay, so we're in the right spot. Okay, so let's start with F. What we're going to do is F. It's not going to look at all like this, but I'm just showing you what I'm thinking. Okay, so we're going to do F, G, C as the first progression for the first phrase. And so then we have to think rhythmically, what do we want to do as far as the timing of each of the chords. And I'm thinking of maybe bum, 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 or bum, bum, bum. So let's see what this sounds like. So we'll go ahead and make these a dotted half, and then the G will just be a quarter. And note that I inverted this G. So do we want it to go up? Do we want it to go down? And I don't know. We'll see in a second. So we can do it like that, or we can invert the G like this, and that citrus patch is funny when you make it do that. So this is what it would be sound like going down. So the last bit of our verse went up. So I think I liked this better when it was going up. And then for our next phrase, let's do the exact same rhythm, except we're going to, so I'm just going to copy this, and then we'll move it however we want. And this time we're going to do, oops, we're going to do D minor, E minor, and then C again. Except, remember a lot of times that melodies are kind of call and response. So if this goes dun dun dun, this one we might want to went dun 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 as kind of an answer to the first line. So we actually want this to probably progress down since this one progresses up. So that's going to be a little too high. So I'm just inverting these to make them ride the way we want without having to make big jumps. So this is going to go down. And the way I know what notes to use is you know what chord you want. So this is going to be a C, so we always want the C, E, and the G. We're just going to put them in whatever order we want to make them flow in the direction that we want. Okay, so let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so there's the first two lines of our chorus. And now we need a couple more. So let's go with let's go with A minor as the 6. I'm just thinking about what to do rhythmically with this. Dun, 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 dun. Let's make these half notes. So we're going to go A minor, F, G, I think, or we can do, yeah, let's try A minor, F, G. That's probably too high. I'm actually just going to repeat this. then from there, we're just going to copy this whole thing. And then these last two phrases, we're going to change a little bit. Let's try and actually make this one a C. Subtle change, see what happens, and this is going to go down, and then I think we want another C as kind of an intermediate here before the next verse starts. Actually, let's see. We start our verse on C, so we might not, so we might not actually want to end this in a C, but we'll leave it here for now. Okay, so I think we have a chorus. So remember, back in the verse, rhythmically, we kind of emphasized this last quarter note in each measure, and we're kind of doing that again here. So let's just, I don't want to emphasize that anymore, so we'll leave that the way it is. And then on our bassy kind of thing, we did bum bum bum. And let's try and continue that on. So we'll go ahead and make our oops. That's not at all right. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Sorry, this window is not the right size. One thing I highly recommend that I don't have is putting FL on two monitors is extremely helpful. Always struggling, especially at the last stages when you need to have piano rolls open, you need to have the mixer open, and everything's on top of each other. It's a real pain in the butt. Okay, so remember what we did before was these are an octave apart to kind of mimic what a contrabass and a cello might be like. So we're going to do the same thing here. I just copied it, so I mean I could write down what the chords are, but I just copied it, and we'll just going to take the top. Oop. You see me do that a lot. It's because my keyboard's a little flaky and the control key doesn't always work. Yeah, it might have been faster to just make all these, but that's okay. Okay, and then some of these we need to, these guys need to be glued together. Now, one thing you'll notice is that what I just did there in my kind of cheating here is I just left the bottom, whatever the bottom note is for the bass. And in some cases we have inverted chords, so the bass is not necessarily the root. And I think back in the verse we made sure it was the root, but it shouldn't matter. We'll see if that matters as we go. Okay, and so our pattern was bum bum. So I'm not sure if we want that or not. What I'm going to do is, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm a little indecisive today, it seems. So anywhere where we had a whole note here, I'm breaking it up into the same pattern that the same rhythm that we used in the verses. And where we have this other rhythm, I already forgot what I did. Let me break that up into 3/4. And what to do with this? Why is this? Let's just leave that. Okay. Let's see what we have. Okay, it's a thing. I don't love it, but I think we can make it work. Let's see the last part of the verse. Okay, so let's see how long we've got here. About half of a song. That's exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and lay in some rough percussion. So I'm going to make a new. We've got one boring kick pattern here, it seems, and two snare patterns. So I'm actually going to do the opposite. We're going to keep the snare pretty consistent, so I'm just going to use snare 1 for now. And I want to make a new kick. That's kind of cool. So let's keep that. We're going to use this anywhere where we have that accent on that last quarter. And then on these others, we're going to 3. And we'll go let's just do this for now. Okay, cool. There's just one thing I am not happy with, and that's these two progressions here. It's a little too, I don't know, fur jaka kind of deal for me. So, this one over here is okay. So let's leave the first one and do something with the second one. The question is, what are we going to do? So we've got A minor, F, G. So instead of the A minor, F, G, instead of the A minor, let's go D minor. That's good. Okay, then do we want to do that again down here? Sure, why not? actually going to change this C also to a D minor. Okay, not too bad. So the next thing we can do now is really fill out the rest of the song. So the second verse, remember the first verse we had two halves, a part A and a part B, or a part 1 and a part 2, and the second verse is only going to use one of those parts. It's only going to be half as long. So not just move, we want to copy. And also remember that, so in the first verse, we kind of pared back the first part because we want to build slowly. And then the second part was more full, so it's the second part that we want to copy. So that's going to be our second verse. And then, of course, we'll do the same thing with the chorus because we need another chorus. And we now have 2 minutes and 40 seconds of our song. And then what we'll have left is a bridge and then a final repeat of the chorus. But before we get to those, I want to really flesh out the rest of the verse and the chorus, I think, before we get there. Because bridges are oftentimes my favorite part of the song. I like to have really cool and unique stuff in the bridge. So just for me, I like to have a really good idea of what's going on in the verse and the chorus before we get there. And then we can design the bridge and flop the last chorus in, and then we'll easily have a 3 minute, 30-second or so song, which is exactly what we're aiming for. Okay, so I think this is a good place to pause, so I'm going to go ahead and end this one. So next time what we're going to do is really work on the percussion a little bit and get our stringy patch in. I'm not sure which order we'll do those, but that's the plan for next time. So I'm going to end this here. So make sure you like and favorite and all those fun things that people on YouTube do. And I will see you next time.